Hey everybody, how's it going? Sitting low here again, just working on this, what is this, a 95 SeaDoo SP with a 587 Rotax. And basically all I'm doing with this thing today is, it runs good, and haven't had any issues with it. But what I am doing right now is I'm replacing the fuel lines on it. As you can see, I'm ran brand new fuel lines. I also ran new oiler lines, but today I'm focusing on the fuel lines because I've read on a lot of forums people suggest that you replace the these tempo whatever made gray fuel lines with just anything other than that, because the problem with the stock factory gray fuel lines is you can kind of see what's going on here. Like, here's the inlet, that's where the fuel starts out at, and here's the very end of the hose. And you see that nasty green sludge in there? That is what everyone talks about. That is the green sludge you've read about. And if you don't know about it, basically what happens over time is these factory fuel lines, they just start to break down and deteriorate, and just start forming this nasty green gunk. And that can just wreak havoc on your entire fuel system. Clog up your carburetor, clog up your filters, and then you're stranded dead in the water. So I figured I'd take a couple of moments to just go ahead and replace all these fuel lines on it. That way I'm not stranded out on the water. But other than that, I've had no issues with this machine. It's done me pretty well. I picked it up for a couple $100. It's a pretty clean machine for what it is. You know, it's a SP. It's like the smallest, slowest fucking wave runner SeaDoo made then. But like I said, I just wanted to get on the water cheap, so I picked this thing up. And even with it being the smallest, you know, SeaDoo out there, that thing's still a blast. And I have permagrin every time I ride this damn thing, so I figured just go through it and give it a little bit of love. And I'm charging the battery now. Battery pretty much dead in it, but like I said, if you haven't done it already and you got one of these SeaDoo watercrafts, it would be within your best interest to replace these fuel lines. As you can see, I showed you the one already. It's got the green gunk. Here's another one. Starts out fine. Right at the end, green gunk. This is, I believe, just the pulse line, but even the pulse line gets the green gunk. So once that shit starts breaking free and working its way through your fuel system, it's just gonna clog up your set, just gonna clog everything up. So, and that's no fun. So like I said, I got maybe 20 bucks into replacing all the fuel lines. And it took me about, I don't know, I'd say an hour to do from beginning to end. Just, you know, you gotta remove this air cleaner assembly just to make it easier. I suppose you don't really have to, but I did just to make it easier. You gotta pull that little storage compartment out to access all this. All your fuel lines that are there. If you see this gray line here that I did not replace, that is just a vent line. That is not really too critical as far as the green gunk goes, being it's just a vent line. But all the actual fuel lines that have the fuel going through them, I replaced. Like I said, just do one line at a time. You know, start at the carburetor, undo one of the lines, pull it all the way back, disconnect it from wherever it comes from up here, and just do them one at a time. Because you can see there's 2 lines there. There's 4 lines coming out of the fuel tank, and then there's 3 or 4 lines coming off the fuel selector back there. So you don't want to mix those lines up, because that'll just create more of a headache for you. But if you just do one line at a time, just peel them off one at a time, it should be pretty simple and self-explanatory. So just figured I'd share that video with you guys. I mean, ever since I got this thing, I've just been reading up on them and seeing people recommend doing to them, and that was one of the first things I read about, was replacing the fuel lines. And I got this machine from the original owner. It's always been maintained at a dealership, you know, so they didn't do nothing with it other than just ride the fucking thing. And which ain't bad, you know, it runs good, it runs fine, so there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I just prefer to, you know, alleviate potential problems before they even become problems, which is why I did the fuel lines. So yeah, and plus when I took all this apart, I discovered I had a cracked oiler line down here, which is also no bueno. So I had to replace the oiler lines while I had it apart. You know, if you buy one of these things, just take a couple minutes to go through it and just look at everything. Make sure you know, all the fuel lines and stuff are in good condition, all the oiler lines are in good shape. You know, if you got a compression tester, check the compression on it, and just all that kind of stuff. So that way you just have a better idea of what you're dealing with. Because I mean, if I just rode this thing the way it was with that cracked oiler line, I would have probably nuked this piston right here. But like I said, I just got it not too long ago, and I just started taking it apart just to give it a good look over, and just finding little stuff wrong with it here and there. But that's what it's about. That's why I take it apart, just so I can you know, go through and make sure everything's good with it before I end up stranded out on the lake, which is something I definitely don't want to happen. So anyway, enough of my rambling. I just figured I'd come at you guys and share with you about the gray fuel lines. It seems to be quite a hot topic on these personal watercraft forums. So if you haven't done it already, you know, spend the 20 bucks and take the time to just go through and replace them. And like I said, just do one line at a time, and you shouldn't have any issues. That's about it. Have fun, you guys. Take it easy.